Sheppard, live Wednesday, 11:11 Rocky Mountain Time.
Deep breath.
Deep breath. Busy morning, but here, really excited. So we'll welcome the other shows as well, but thank you for joining us. Dana is behind the scenes with me. Is Elizabeth here too today?
Well, I'm sure she's
So
jumping on too.
she's jumping on. So welcome if this is your first time. Of course, I will do a few readings, but we have a few announcements. We talk about a topic today, tell you what's happening, all the all those good things. My mouth isn't working. I hadn't enough coffee yet this morning. So if there's any shout outs, but I'm going to talk just briefly about what happens when we become resistant to change. And I was thinking about this yesterday about, sometimes we have one perspective of things, and I know I can get that way. In the last several months, I've had some resistance going on about things that I want to change in my life and things that I want to do differently. And there's times where I'm just like, I don't really know. I'm not really sure. To me, that's where it's really about opportunity for growth. Why are we resistant? What's the challenge of the change? What is our fears around that? And I'm really blessed because I have Dana that talks me through it. Woo-woo. Not everyone has a Dana. But what I was thinking about is when, the only thing that we really do know is that change is inevitable. It's always going to have change. And so when we get in a comfort place and we feel like, oh, life is okay, I don't want to have a lot of changes, that's sometimes when we get that challenge of, yeah, but it is going to change. Things are going to look different. And if we do really want change because we don't like what's happening, are we resistant to ideas of how it should look? So we get very attached sometimes on the outcome or what it should look like. And that, again, is being resistant to being open to other possibilities. I know I will work with people, or including myself. I think, well, I want it to look this way. It's got to look like this way. And what happens is it really keeps us from really having a connection with the universe and seeing other possibilities that we never even imagined that are so much better than what we originally thought. So if you're the person that immediately shuts things down or doesn't like change or listening to someone else's perspective, that's going to be a challenge working with the universe. If you're wanting to manifest, create an intention, make change, have those connections, is think about, does your body resist some new ideas or new thoughts? And I have this a lot when people come to see me. They're like, well, I don't really know if this is a good thing to do. And people tell me this and this and this. And that resistance is, instead of having the experience and making those decisions on your own, think about why you have those limiting beliefs or why you're resistant to hearing something other than what you've already known, practiced, understood, things like that. You have a big smile on your face, Dana.
I always have a smile looking at you. Yeah, I'm thinking about what you're saying and some of the things we've been experiencing lately. And I know you're going to go into maybe some tips on how
Absolutely.
to overcome the resistance you're feeling. But Dawn Heck is on, and she said she's going through big changes right now. I know it's necessary, but it's damn hard, she said.
And that's exactly it, because we get into a place of comfort, like we know what to expect. And so I think a lot of us, we don't want to be judged. We don't want to do it wrong. We're perfectionists. I have to know everything about it before I make those changes. Do I have the confidence that this is going to be successful? And that's been some of my pushback or resistance of, can I really do this? And a lot of things that are coming up. One of them is that we're doing a YouTube channel called Grieving to Believing.
YouTube show.
Yeah. And so if you haven't seen it, please go and
to your channel,
to Deb Sheppard's channel. And what I realized is I had to wear different hats, and I'm really good at what I do, and I'm very comfortable with what I do. But adding those other elements was causing me to go, deep breaths. How do I do this? How do I lean into it? Am I really able? What is my learning curve? What's my patience for myself? What is my self-talk? And again, I have a great support system when I'm going to that place to have someone, Dana, including, or my producer and other people, like, hey, you got this. This is just practice. This is how you work. This is how you process. And that helps me to sit back a little bit and do that self-talk and look at it in a whole different light. So if you're the person that is going through change or feels like you need to go through change, but that resistance is there, it's really writing down what are those fears? What is the reason why you're resisting it? And when I was starting to look at my own stuff was the judgment, right? Can I do it right? I'm not as good. So that comparing to other people out there that may do something very similar. And what we have to remember is that we don't have to look like somebody else. It's for us to bring our own unique person into the light and into that energy, because part of it is we can bring something different. It's like having a family recipe and it wasn't written down and you wing it a little bit, but you may add something or change it. So it is adding your own flavor to who you are and showing the universe that authentic self, who you are, what is sort of what is your alignment. And that actually helps you when you're able to do that, is connect with like-minded, more of a connection with the universe, all that kind of thing. So do we have any shout outs, since I've just been rambling on about this topic?
It's a great topic. People are connecting with the topic for sure. We have lots of people on. How about Christine Bauer's question? Is the solar eclipse helping to make room for change?
Oh, okay. So I'm not completely clear on that unless Dana knows, but I do know whenever our galaxy is in any sort of shifts, it does change who we are. And I do know
how we react to things.
How we react, absolutely. And so there may be more fear or more things coming up. The other thing is November's coming up, which is the number 11. And of course, 11 is a high spiritual number. If you're new to our rodeo here, our circus, whatever you want to call it, but it's all about relationships. And what I'm really noticing here in 2022 is a pattern of understanding relationships and how they work. And that's the relationship with yourself, the relationship with your beliefs, the relationship with the universe, your relationship in so many different levels. And so when these planets, or we have these eclipses, I do believe it kind of opens up a little bit of our energy to go, woo, it's a little bit more intense, for sure. I mean, it's like full moons, intensity, things like that will happen.
Yeah. Type in your questions, guys, because Deb will get to a few questions here too. Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. You guys we see you all. So thanks for joining us.
I don't. I only hear your loved ones, right? My guides.
Yeah. Mary Dooley has a question. Working on my spirituality, it seems like I keep breaking things, like dropping glasses, etc. Is there any correlation with spirituality and...
Absolutely. And I'm glad you're recognizing, like, why does this keep happening? Of course, you want to rule out any health concerns that you may have, like, is there something going on with my nervous system? Am I too tired? I'm drinking too much caffeine, whatever that means. But what I feel like it is that it's allowing you to know that it's okay to release things that no longer serve you. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's getting rid of things that no longer you need. And that can be physical things, it can be spiritual things, it can also be releasing your judgment on yourself or relationships or things that are creating limitations. So if you're trying to break free from something, I mean, that's literally what's happening, is you're breaking free. You're allowing that metaphor to say, I'm releasing this and it's broken. I can't hold on to it anymore. I can't bring it back into my life. I have great memories of that. I can refer back to it. I maybe have a photograph of it, but I don't have to keep it in my energy field. Mm-hmm. And so releasing those things is saying, what are you holding on to that maybe it's time to surrender to?
Yes.
I'm not a person of teaching letting go of, you got to let go of it. To me, letting go is when you've understood the reason why you're holding on to it and it no longer serves you, you surrender it and release it in a more way of grace than that battle of, I'm doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. So
push and pull.
Yeah, that releasing is actually, even though you don't want to break a bunch of stuff, it still is, to me, a great analogy that you came up with of why is this happening. So
Fantastic.
I love when people pay attention to that.
So you are going to do readings, and what we always
Absolutely.
ask for, we're still going to answer a few questions first, but
Good.
what we always ask for to get the
A session going.
the session going is the first name of your loved one that you would like to connect with and what their relationship is with you, because there are typically, between all the platforms, there's 100 or so people on, sometimes more. So it's a lot of chatter for Deb. So it just helps her hone into their energy quicker.
Just for this, when you have a private session or you join one of my live events, which is coming up on Saturday, I don't ask that information.
Yeah, but in this venue, when she can't see you, it helps her connect with the energy. So first name of your loved one, what their relationship is to you. If it was a child, so your child, niece, nephew, that child's generation, she would like their age. And then Elizabeth is going to pick some people randomly to receive readings. We'll announce that here in a minute. So if you guys will put that in for us, that would be great.
Yeah, and the show on YouTube that we launched is all about the families who have lost children, and talk about heart-wrenching and heartbreaking, but very powerful.
And lots of healing.
Lots of healing. That's
Lots
my
of healing
intention.
And happy tears too, the connections. Yeah.
And some of the stuff that comes through is
incredible.
Yeah, and to me, I've been doing this for over 2 decades, and I'm still in awe, like the stuff that happens. So I never take it for granted.
So one question, I don't have a name on here because they didn't type it in, but can spirits pick up things and hide them on us or move them?
Yes. Yes. So I think it takes a lot of work for them to do that. And I don't think everything that you see that may be moved or shifted, it would be a spirit. I think there are certain things with energy and gravity and wind and all those things that affect stuff. But in the movie Ghost, which we know is a Hollywood version of things, when you can see them trying to move stuff, absolutely. And a lot of times it's someone making jokes or having fun. And, I think part of it is sometimes to slow down and pay attention. So if you're not finding your keys, that's happened in my home where people have stayed. We have a couple of vortexes in this house, and people can't find their keys to drive home. And so, they end up staying over, and the next day, there are the keys right there. So absolutely, they do like to hide and have fun. I've seen and heard where they fix pictures or tilt pictures or move stuff. So yeah, the book that falls out of the shelf, things like that.
Let's see here. Any more questions? And we are going to jump into some readings as soon as I hear back from Elizabeth. But do you want to talk about the topic just a little more?
Yeah, we didn't have any shout outs, but that's okay.
Okay.
They're really busy.
Actually, the first mini reading, if you want to jump into that, we've got that. The Instagram handle, if you're on Instagram, just a reminder, first name on Instagram, your first name, because sometimes the handles we can't figure out. But this one was a little easier. Talking Jamie wants to connect with Dad Jeff.
Okay, so we didn't talk about this, but how I get this information is I put all my clairs together, which means I hear, see, taste, smell. I'm empathic, so I take that information and I blend it together to be able to communicate. So you are learning a language that over years becomes almost like a sign language. Remember, they have no
psychic charades,
right?
Yeah,
psychic charades. They have no vocal cords, so they're unable to communicate, even though I can hear things. So when someone was saying, can they move stuff? They are energy. So yes, they can give me information based on the work I've been doing my whole life, and that's how they give information. So Jamie, about Jeff. First of all, Jeff feels too young to pass. I feel like there was some challenges or there was an illness or something's going on before he passed. He's also saying, I don't feel like there was either closure for people or there's a feeling of still unanswered questions. I'm having trouble with my breathing all in this area, but it could be more of an impact, something like that. It does not feel like a heart attack, but it doesn't mean that I could be wrong. He's showing me baby toys. So to me, there's a couple things. Someone's having a baby, which would be a new symbol for me, or something about playing, or he's been gone a long time, or something about the innocent child or the child that he's bringing through. Hopefully that has some meaning. He's bringing through also a medium-sized kind of a brownish dog here. It's got a larger face, so this to me would not be a tiny dog unless it thought it was a bigger dog. And I'm also getting him saying, just know that you are loved, because he's telling me that you're not feeling like there was love, or he didn't say it, or you just miss that connection. I'm having trouble breathing again, so definitely around the breathing here. And so hopefully that makes some sense, Jamie, too.
Yeah, share the validation too, because she says, let's see, nope, different one. Yeah, share the validation, because it can be helpful for Deb, not
It's
only
okay if
because
I'm
there's
wrong.
lots of people on,
Yeah.
but let's see here.
While you're doing that, do you have another one, or you want me to talk about a podcast that we just are launching this week?
Yeah, talk about the podcast real quick.
So I was asked in a kind way if I wanted to do a reading for a woman that I had heard about seeing briefly, and her husband had passed.
Our good friend Dawn.
Our dear friend Dawn
who's
said,
on with us
"Is
today.
it hi, Miss Dawn?" Dawn said, "I really think this would help your audience." And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty usually easy that way. Give me a glass of wine and I'm ready to go. And as I'm sitting there doing this reading with her, it was phenomenal, the people that came through. And if it would have been on video, you would have seen me catching flies. Because
it is on video.
Oh, it is on video?
Mm-hmm.
So my mouth is open quite a bit, just because I'm in awe of the people that came through, very famous people that came through to say hello, because she had had a connection with them. After the session, Dana downloaded some information so we could do the opening of it.
Because we never, when you do a session, even if it's for somebody who's known,
I don't do any research.
You do a very clean reading.
Yeah, I don't want to know anything.
Yeah.
And so if I would have known her background, not that it changed, it would have made me more nervous, because the individuals that came through, but Cleo Parker Robinson, which is an icon here in Colorado and has been awarded so many different things, beautiful soul. And she made me feel relaxed and good. And she started telling these stories, and a great storyteller. And I just love hearing stories. And every time someone would come through that was very famous, that all of you know that came through, I'm going to do
just
that.
say one name.
When they came through, I was just like I thought I was really wrong. Like, where am I getting this? And then she would tell the story about this person.
Yeah.
And I was so moved by her generosity, her openness, and being able to share. And of course, the love of her husband and a nephew who had died. Mm-hmm. And anyway, it's a beautiful, not my typical podcast. It's called Spirited Straight Talk. So I hope you watch. Do you want me to say one person?
Yeah, and it did launch yesterday. So
it
is live.
Okay, so it is live. And it's Cleo Parker Robinson, very famous here in Colorado, but as well as around the world, has even been recognized by famous people like Bill Clinton, awards and things like that.
She was part of the Kennedy Center honors a few years back.
And she's biracial. Is that how I say it? Yeah. And she was born in 1948. So even that story behind her being biracial and all the people she met and what she's been through is pretty incredible story. And we just did the tip of the iceberg.
Are you going to say a name?
Should I talk about one of them that's famous?
Sure.
Dr. King. Let's just say that.
Came through.
Dr. King came through very loud and clear. And that's just one of the many. And I was emotional too, just feeling it. So that will hopefully lead you all to listen to the podcast this week with Cleo Parker Robinson.
Yes. Okay, so we have a few more people. On YouTube, Lisa Schweiger wants to connect with her grandma Ruth. And one more, sorry. Robin Skidmore, can you please email elizabeth@debsheppard.com. Again, it's elizabeth@debsheppard.com. It's on the screen. Shoot her an email and she's going to get you connected to see if we can't bring you on live with Deb. So go ahead and do that as soon as you can, and we'll see if we can't bring you on live. Okay.
Do you guys realize what I have to do here?
Back to you, Deb.
So Lisa, I like Ruth. the first thing I saw was a woman before her time. And it's interesting because we just talked about Cleo Parker Robinson. And I started thinking because Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to be on a stamp here, which we're going to be buying and saving.
Ruth came through recently too. Remember?
Oh, yes. That was in Monterey.
I forgot about that.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg came through in a reading in Monterey, which was pretty darn cool too. So when you get these people coming through, it's like, I wish I could ask for your autograph. Anyway, with Ruth coming through, I just feel sort of a woman before her time. Not that she didn't play her certain roles as a grandmother and a mother and a wife and all those things, but I also feel that she was just one of these individuals that maybe were a little bit more progressive is the word I'm getting with her. I also feel that the family around her was wondering, did we do the right thing? I keep getting questions around the choices of what was happening, near the end of her life. And she's like, absolutely. There could have been maybe either dementia or a feeling of the communication, something around that. Very peaceful, definitely hung on for as long as she could. Just a person that you can like, but I also feel like if you didn't want to hear her opinion, you may not want to ask or be near because she will tell it to you. So very kind-hearted. And she's talking about you having the piece of her jewelry or wanting this piece of the jewelry. Usually when I get that is that maybe you're wanting a piece, but just definitely do something you want with it. Don't just put it in, the drawer and not use anything with it. And I don't know why she'd be talking about a rubber band. If the rubber band doesn't have a meaning to you, the only thing I can think of is the metaphor of something snapping back or something going back into place, that kind of an idea. I use a rubber band with my students if they need to change the way they're thinking. Mm-hmm. So it might be, if you're thinking negative thoughts or things like that, she's just saying, stop it. Don't worry anymore.
So, and that brings up a great point, because you even talked about this a few days ago with the apple and how many different meanings an apple can have, because they're communicating with you. They have no vocal cords. They communicate in symbols, feelings, your emotions. They will sometimes make you feel pain in your body. They'll make you cough if they had COVID. All those different symbols. Yeah. You're deciphering all of this. Mm-hmm. So we say it's like psychic charades.
Yeah, I would say it's like one of those games. It's like is it a movie? Is it a book? It's 3 words. First word, and they come through and they give you this information, and you're like, okay. And with it being on this type of a platform, I only have a couple, 45, 50, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 90 seconds to really tell you what they're coming through with, and you get to figure out how it fits.
Guess who just joined us?
Who?
Jake Sheppard.
Hi, son. I love my son, Jake. Thank you, son. Love you being here. Yeah, he's now a man. Recent pictures of him, I don't even recognize him. I'm like, all of a sudden, he just became this beautiful, handsome man. And he took you and I and Dawn out to dinner, not recently. This is how good he is. And he's only 25, so he's a good guy.
He is. Okay, Robin, Elizabeth is still waiting for your email if you want to come on Live with Deb for this reading. And then Vicki Milnes,
Vicki.
She wants to connect with her dad, Leroy, but send an email to Elizabeth at Deb Sheppard, and we'll see if we can't bring you on Live with Deb. So Vicki, who wants to connect with her dad, Leroy, send an email to...
Leroy's funny, so please, Vicki, join us. I'm already getting his information. So for anyone that's here in Colorado, I just want to say this in between if you're coming on and on, is we have a live event on Saturday, and I love doing live events. So please, if you are available on Saturday or know someone that would really benefit from being exposed to having a reading, things like that, go onto my website. Tickets are very reasonable, and it's really a good opportunity. Yeah.
So a couple shout outs real quick.
Yes.
Sandy Kochan, she just had a session with you yesterday. She said, you're awesome.
Yes, Sandy. I couldn't see a photo of you, but we still made it work. This lady is really cool. Oh, really love her. So yeah.
Bonnie says, hey, from Skyridge Hospital, which is just down the way. For a reading, we'll do this one as a mini since we already sent out a couple of people. We'll do this one as a mini right now. But Jason is a young man who is 46. And I believe this is his mom, Sandy, who wants to connect with Jason, who was 46.
Oh, so Sandy is not
Sandy's
the same
the
Sandy,
mom.
another Sandy.
Different Sandy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is she spelling hers with a Y?
Sandy.
Yeah, the other one has an I.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I wrote it. Okay, with Jason. Okay, first of all, Sandy, I'm so apologetic that you lost a child. And I always say it doesn't matter what age or the circumstances, we're not designed on a human level to ever bury our children. So I'm so sorry. Jason, I don't feel like he's been gone long. So even if it's under 5 years, so I'm feeling like it's more of a recent passing to me. And he is feeling like there's more of an unexpected smart guy. I just feel there's a seriousness to him in the sense of being very focused on things. But I also feel my head is really bothering me. So there's definitely a passing regarding his head. So this could be an accident, suicide, something to that, with an effect with the brain. Head, so as he keeps going to this, or there is something around his head that caused his passing. He's also showing me, okay, this is important for you to hear, and this to me is very normal. This is like outside the box, but he's making sure, Mom, I'm okay, and I'm with Grandpa. So Sandy, I'm assuming it might be your father that's passed, or it could be Jason's paternal grandfather, but he says, I'm there with the dad, and he's also saying, Mom, this was really hard for me. So I feel like whatever the struggle was for Jason here, that there was a struggle sometimes with him being on this earth plane. But good heart, good kid, open. He's also saying that this has also affected a lot of what you're trying to figure out to believe, or what does your belief system look like? And this could be based on how his passing is, or what's happened from that time. But
I do know how he passed.
How did he pass? Oh, my head.
Your head?
Mm-hmm.
Expand on it, and then I'll tell you.
It's either I just keep getting impact, suicide, something around the head.
Impact. So it was a motorcycle accident. Okay. And it was very recent in September.
Okay. So this impact to the head, and he's telling me it's not his fault, but I will also tell you that he feels like he has some responsibility, like, should have been paying more attention. And especially if you're on a motorcycle, Dana's son, Thomas, has a motorcycle, and we're always like, we know you're safe. It's everybody else. And that's what I feel with Jason's, like that. It was other things that caused this, but really a good human being. I just feel like he was feeling rushed. I keep getting the feeling of rush. Good soul. Someone keeps going back thinking, I would have, could have, should have, like someone's taking some accountability or guilt around this passing too. So whether he was running late or he wasn't supposed to be taking the motorcycle, something like that could have been part of it. But yes, with my head. And I also feel that maybe even at the scene, they tried to do something. So I'm not seeing him without a helmet, but I don't know if the helmet came off or there was still that impact to his body. But I just feel like there's things that we just don't understand, question marks, especially if he only died in September, which I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels pretty recent.
Okay. Let's do, you want to do one more mini one?
Sure.
Keep getting what?
I'm feeling a sense of him being hit and, like airborne. That's the word I'm getting, like an airborne feeling, which would make sense in a motorcycle. That's kind of logical.
So you do readings for every type of loss, not just kids, every type of loss, just to make that clear. But because we get that question sometimes with the Grieving to Believing. Grieving to Believing is the show that you've created around the loss of children to help parents heal, which is a lot of work you do. But your readings are around everything intuitive.
Past lives.
Yeah.
God,
Vicky's on. Let's let her get settled and we'll bring her on. But I want to bring another child up into this. It's a little 2-year-old. Megan is the mom. And Megan, I'm going back to try to see if I can grab his name. I need you to type his name in there. It is a little boy, was 2. And I want to grab his name, Megan. So be quick with that if you can. Braden was his name.
This is the kid that just passed. We just did a YouTube on this. Isn't this part of grieving to believe in?
I don't believe so. No, that was Caden, and he was 10.
Nope.
Okay. And
Okay.
Same energy. I'm not sure, but this is she was not on.
Okay. So Megan, my first thing I'm getting with this, if this is the case, that I'm seeing another reading I did recently of this being an accident or something happening with an accident. So if that's not the right one, I'm getting somebody else in. So can Megan answer if this was an accident and is passing? If not, I'm going to tune in differently. Nope, not an accident.
It's not the one you're thinking of with the car accident.
No, that wasn't a car. Oh. It was the drowning.
No, the only thing that she's entered is he was at daycare.
Okay, then there's a
different reading.
It's a different reading, but similar circumstances.
Okay.
No wonder. So another child that had a passing is what is coming through. So this is sometimes how they kind of join forces over there. So the feeling I'm getting with this little boy is someone not paying attention again, someone not watching, and an accident occurred that caused his passing.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yes.
So if this child had an accident, whether it was actually a drowning or a stop breathing or something that happened in the daycare, I feel like he was being watched, but something happened that caused his passing. So this doesn't feel like an illness. It doesn't feel... I don't think this is a murder, but someone can consider it foul play, but it feels more like the responsible person looked away or the responsible person wasn't available. Let me go back to the kid. Kid is fine. Great big old face, meaning I just see, this beautiful soul from ear to ear. I feel like there's been another child's coming, or there's been another child since him, or she's talking about the other child. Also has a smaller animal, feels like a smaller dog. This could be a dog, Megan, from your childhood or his father's childhood, but I'm getting this small dog. And he's also talking about him being celebrated. So I'm seeing the balloons. It doesn't mean that you're releasing balloons, but he's definitely talking about having the celebration. When I see a candle, that it usually is my sign for an anniversary or birthday has just passed, or he's coming up, to validate that person. And I keep getting something about the marriage or the celebration, more about, it could be a divorce, but it's all from the candle. I feel like there's another thing about something about a wedding, something about a divorce, something about a relationship change too. So hopefully that makes some sense.
In August, he would have turned 3.
Okay.
And then she said initially they said it was choking, but preliminary autopsy, nothing was lodged. So this is very recent.
No wonder I got this, because in Megan, the other child I'm thinking about, they said he drowned, but I didn't feel like he drowned. And so the breathing or the accident or not someone not watching is that same kind of feeling that I'm getting with both these boys.
And of course, she wants to know if he's okay.
Absolutely. And that's why he's bringing through the dog. He said there's not been a lot of losses around you, but there are definitely loved ones with him. And there's a younger female with him. So if you've lost a sister, a friend, someone that's a young girl, definitely there with him, what he's showing me. But does the rest of stuff make any sense? We said too. So just check that out too.
Yeah, definitely send.
No wonder, because it's these 2-year-old boys that had problems breathing.
And there is an older child, an 8-year-old.
Okay.
8-year-old boy.
And the same story in the grieving to believing, there was an older sibling. Kids are being watched, but there was an issue with breathing. But if it shows, I don't feel like it was foul play. I don't feel like this kid was like strangled or something like that. So whatever the situation is.
And I have to apologize, Megan, because there is somebody on who says they sent you a message just now. So please just block that. Deb has some scammers that, so whoever you are, Voyant, Medium, Gerardo, you're being blocked right now. Please don't come back on.
So just for those that are watching, if someone reaches out and says they're me and they're giving you a discounted reading, please do not purchase.
It is not Deb.
It's not me. If you question it, reach out and call us. We do not market ourselves that way. These are scammers that have taken a lot of our clients' money. So please do not.
And Megan says, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It does make sense.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
He's still here on earth.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Vicky has got herself settled. Let's bring her on.
This is regarding Leroy. So we never heard from Robin, huh?
Nope. Sometimes people can't stay on for the
Full
whole
time. Yeah.
Leroy, yes. You're on, Vicky. Say hi to Deb.
Hi, Deb.
Hi, Vicky. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. First thing, when you said the name, or Dana said the name Leroy, did your dad have a sense of humor?
Yeah, he was a funny, average funny guy.
Okay, well, it could even be, if it's dad dry humor, I would really appreciate that.
Dad jokes.
But I also feel a little overwhelmed that he's here. He's saying that I'm not sure he believed in this, or he's not sure that was he too young to cross over?
No.
How old was he?
Older. My dad was in his probably 60s. He died in 97. He was
Okay,
born in so just
That's 62.
I'm 62, so 60 is young. Okay.
Okay.
Right now, I'm going to throw you and kick drop you. Yeah, so 60 is young. If you would have said 90, I would I'm wrong. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking younger, like 20s or something.
Well, no, because most likely you'd be. So in the 60s, to me, that's still having a full life. I also feel like your dad is taking some accountability for his passing. So did he not take care of himself or not make good choices?
I would go with the more not good choices.
Okay, because I keep getting, and remember, your dad's giving me messages by not having a vocal cord. So, I'm interpreting things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like you're intuitive too, but sometimes you get in your own way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So he feels there wasn't a lot of closure, or there feels like things could have been said differently. And I'm also getting that you don't have a lot of his stuff from his passing. Does that make sense too?
100%.
Okay. And I'm also feeling that the family didn't talk about him, or they're separating. Like they're not, it's almost like that's a taboo topic.
Yes.
Okay.
She's nodding.
Okay. I can't see you.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
How did he pass, Vicky?
He was shot.
Okay. Did he put himself in that position?
Yes.
Okay. That's where I feel like he's taking the accountability. He feels like he could have done things differently. He wasn't. Oh, stop moving.
She's not moving. Something's
making noises. Okay. Wow.
Electronic sound.
Yeah. Your dad is messing with your electronics, Vicky. Okay. Vicky,
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Your dad's messing with your electronics. We're hearing like a bunch of noises. I get that. I keep getting the secrecy around your dad, like things weren't said. Wow, that is really noisy. Can you hear that, Vicky?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Yeah, no, bizarre. This is definitely your dad. So when I got your dad's sense of humor, I think this is probably your dad playing practical jokes. There's a sense too that he took too many risks. He regrets not being the father that you needed, but he also said it was probably best that he wasn't in your life as much, because it probably would have had, he says, more drama for you. Do you understand?
He regrets not being in my life. And what was the last part?
I think it feels like if he would have been in your life more, it might have been more challenging for you.
I don't know.
Was your dad a good role model for you?
Yeah, he was a good dad, but he passed. I was only 19.
Okay, what did she just say?
When he passed,
she was
19.
How come I feel like he's just not as responsible like he could have been with the noise?
We're having a hard time with the connection.
Yeah, but he just feels like he had a hard time being there as a dad. What does that mean? I don't mean.
My parents were separated by the time my dad was shot.
Yeah. Okay. Did he feel like he wasn't as much of a contributor to the role as a parent?
Yes.
So what he's feeling is that he probably, because he was young, wasn't as responsible as he could have been. And so that's sort of the humor I get, that maybe in the long run, boy, that noise.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to go, Vicky, because it's just way too noisy. But I feel like he wishes that he would have been more of an impact in your life, but just maybe his age or his choices or the direction he was going. But he says that that you still want to hear, like, I still feel like you want to have this connection. But for Leroy, it's almost getting to the point of how could he influence you in a positive way? So that's sort of what I'm getting. Maybe there's more questions with this, but because we had I can hear better the dead people than we did on that call. So Vicky, I'm very sorry about the phone connection there. Obviously there was something holding us up. With that said, do we have some more things to share or another? Okay. So again, go to my YouTube channel, Grieving to Believing. It's a good way to see how this works, especially if you've lost a child. This weekend on Saturday, we are having a few left tickets if you want to join us for the live event.
It's on Deb's website, so debsheppard.com.
Tickets are reasonable. Bring someone that
events.
You care about. Bring the skeptics. Those are always great. And we always appreciate you joining us here on our lives on Wednesdays, 11:11. What I always say is, even though your loved ones are on the other side, they are still by your side. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next week.
I'm Deb Sheppard.